I am a fighter who every time like accepts the fight. I'm not the one who's picking like many things that this is a smart decision. Okay, let's choose who is next. No, when you see gonna approach to me for with the next name and date, I'm here. I'm here. You know where to find me. I feel many fans they kind of like wanna see more Weili fight, and I feel this energy going around. So yeah, let's see what UFC decided. I am.
All right. So Shevchenko's never been against this fight being made. Y'all remember after her most recent fight, she said that she would let the fans decide who she would fight next, whether it be Natalia Silva or Weili Zhang. So she's known for a while, or she accepted in her mind that she might fight Weili, but Weili has been on Valentina's neck for years. Y'all remember this video? Zhang Weili explains conversation with Dana White about fighting Valentina Shevchenko. They did this in Mandarin, but this was uploaded 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Y'all remember that tweet that Valentina made in response to Weili posting a photo that they had just recently took together. It was actually kind of crazy. They had just bumped into each other somewhere. I think it may have been at an airport or something, and they took a quick photo, and not long after, Weili posted the photo either on her Twitter or on her Instagram. She may have posted it on both. I've been looking for it, but I can't find it. She posts the photo that they just took together and said something like, wouldn't this be a dream matchup? Or wouldn't this be a great fight? Or something like that. And I think it took Valentina, it caught her off guard. It totally caught her off guard because she responded immediately. And she seemed upset. I'm talking about Valentina Shevchenko. She seemed upset. And the way she responded gave me the impression that Shevchenko did not know. She was totally oblivious to the fact that Weili was even thinking about fighting her. You know what I'm saying? I think Valentina looked at that moment as, two fighters running into each other and taking a picture together. It happens all the time. Whether it be a champion or just regular fighters, they'll run into each other at the mall or at the UFC Performance Institute and take a quick pic and upload it to their social media. I don't think Shevchenko was expecting to be challenged, and I question whether or not she even knew that Weili wanted to fight her, but she found out then. And Valentina told her something like, focus on your division or something like that. So Weili has been on her neck for a long time, and now she's finally about to get the fight. Now, the decision to make this fight, rather than make Natalia Silva or, give Natalia Silva a shot, I'm not really mad at it. I'm not really mad at it. And when you think about it, it seems like a business decision. Because look at the way Natalia Silva fights. And remember, Shevchenko she's coming off of a lackluster performance where she got a lot of criticism for the way that she fought Alexa Grasso in their trilogy. Notice how nobody is thinking about that right now. Have y'all noticed that? Everybody is like, oh, the best fight in history. Two of the most skilled fighters in the world. The criticism that Shevchenko got after that performance is gone. It's completely gone. And it is because, in my opinion, she's matched up against Weili. Think about a match between Weili and Natalia Silva. Natalia Silva is not as aggressive as Weili. It's not even close. Think about it. Think about it. Shevchenko's just now coming off a lackluster performance. I mean, it was a strong showing for Shevchenko, but it wasn't entertaining. It was not entertaining. So, do you think it would be smart to immediately put Shevchenko back in there with another fighter who has also been criticized for being boring? No. That's not a smart business move. It's not a smart business move. It is smarter to put her in there against a fighter who is known for her aggression. Known for her aggression. A fighter who is going to come after you. Weili is not into looking at you and all that type of nonsense. Weili is not into moving laterally like Natalia Silva. I feel like it's only proper to compare Weili to Natalia Silva, at least for a couple minutes here. Look at the difference in styles. Look at the difference in styles. Now, excuse me, what am I talking about? Her most recent fight was against Manon, not Alexa Grasso. But even that fight, it wasn't really... It wasn't Shevchenko, Jessica I. It wasn't Shevchenko, Jessica Andrade. It wasn't Shevchenko, Lauren Murphy, where Shevchenko just brutalized her opponents. You even got people saying that Manon edged the fight. So just based off the momentum, I feel like it was a smarter decision. Go ahead and let Weili fight Valentina for the strap. So Valentina is, it's unfortunate she took that loss against Alexa Grasso, or really both fighters. If they took a loss, it would be more crazy if they were both still undefeated at their respective divisions. But I think everybody is willing to pardon their losses, because with both fighters, it seems like they've progressed since those losses. That's the one thing that I think saved this fight and makes the fight relevant. It seems like Shevchenko got over whatever Alexa was doing to her. Alexa put some type of spell on Valentina, and Valentina went in there and went back to her wrestling. She had some striking moments in there, but she got over the Alexa Grasso hurdle. 3 fights it took. You look at Weili Zhang. Rose is gone, and she never got a chance to defeat Rose. However, she has become far more successful than Rose since the loss to Rose, right? On top of that, Weili has made a lot of improvements since the loss to Rose. So maybe it's just me, but Weili is seen as a fighter who has grown and is a better fighter than she was when she lost to Rose. I think most people look at it like that. Most people look at it. That's how I've looked at it. Right now, okay, I'm looking for Weili's. Here we go. after the now it's back-to-back losses. You know, it was kind of dark for Weili at that time. Things were not looking that good. It's like you lose twice in a row to Rose. Even though a lot of people feel like she won the rematch, she still lost officially. It's like, well, there goes the Weili Zhang hype. Lost it to Rose Namajunas. But she bounced back against Joanna. Now remember, in this fight against Joanna, she had not yet proven that she had really improved. You know what I'm saying? Because that was mainly a striking contest. Even though Weili took her down and was beating on her while she was on the ground, it's mainly a striking contest. And remember that I think Weili started training with Henry Cejudo after the first loss. Or first or second loss. Maybe it was the second loss. Because Rose took Weili down and was on top of her for a while. But around this time, Weili started to train with Henry Cejudo. Started working on her ground game. Okay? Back lost to Rose. She bounced back with Joanna. Strike contest. And she was knee-deep into training with Cejudo and had made significant improvements by the time she fought Carla Esparza. Most definitely. Okay? She mauled Amanda Lemos. Okay? These fights really re-established her as a ground fighter. Because she mauled Joanna, something that she was not able to do in the first fight. She took Joanna down, beat on her, took her down again, beat on her some more. Whereas in the first fight, she wasn't able to keep Joanna down. She took her down for a split second in the first fight, but she couldn't keep her down. Could not get anything accomplished on the ground in the first fight. But she could in the second fight. So, boom. Soon as she comes back from the two losses, she looks like she's made improvements as far as her ground game is concerned. Same against Carla Esparza. Won that fight on the ground. Okay, choked her out, mauled her, and all that. Mauled Amanda Lemos. Took Jan down, beat on her as well. And most definitely mauled, smashed Tatiana Suarez. So, after all of these fights, she is seen as a better fighter now than Rose is. Easily. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Anybody in their right mind, you're not going to disagree with that. She beat Weili twice in a row and then turns around and loses a boring split decision to Carla Esparza. So basically the opposite happened to Rose. Weili got better and better, and Rose started looking worse and worse. Now this is important. I'm going over this information to give more credit to the fight. Okay, this is basically why I co-signed this fight and why I feel good about this fight. Rose immediately went downhill. Almost as if those two fights against Weili took everything out of her. I don't know if y'all remember, but I was tweaking out on Rose around that time. Because Rose had went on this racist rant and racist tirade, this goofy racist tirade. It was totally unnecessary. And I made some videos about it. And I even got a response from Pat Barry. I don't know how many of y'all remember that. One of those videos that I made, Pat Barry came and left a response. So clearly, Pat Barry was aware of what the things that I said, and most likely so had Rose. And I don't know if it had an effect on her or not. I don't know what happened to her. But she started going downhill. That horrible fight against Carla Esparza. And then after that, she moved up the flyweight and lost to Manon. Lost to Manon. And that fight against Carla, it forced Rose to improve her performances. UFC is not going to tolerate her going in there and staring at her opponents like she did against Carla. So she fought against Manon but still lost. She beat Amanda Ribas, Tracy Cortez, Tracy Eyelash Cortez, Then she loses to Erin Blanchfield. Okay, so she has not made the improvements. She does not look like a new fighter the way Weili does. After those losses, Weili has looked like a new fighter. She's earned that, in my opinion. She has done nothing but improve after those 2 losses. So I can throw those 2 losses, I can sweep them under the rug. I can sweep them under the rug. It would be a different thing if Weili was still getting mauled and beaten by subsequent fighters. That's not happening. It's almost as if Weili patched up that problem. And when it comes to Valentina Shevchenko, same thing. She's seen as a improved fighter. And bottom line is, Weili is a smarter opponent right now for Shevchenko than Natalia Silva. Now, the sad thing about this is the strawweight division. What's going on with the strawweight division is losing its luster. Let me pull it up here. Okay, because we got to look at what's happening to the strawweight division right now. It's dying. The division is slowly dying. They're losing their top fighters. I've always said Weili was like keeping that division alive. That division is going through a transition right now. Okay? This is strawweight right here. Weili's out the picture. Verna is about to fight Mackenzie Dern for the title. And this is a rematch. Mackenzie Dern has a win over Verna, but most people feel like Verna actually won the fight. I remember I did a video on that fight talking about how I thought Verna won and that they gave it to Mackenzie Dern because she's more attractive. One second. I have been saying this for a while. And I was annoyed by it. How in WMMA, looks is a factor. It can indeed become a factor in whether or not a fighter wins or loses. That is a huge problem that I don't want to happen again. Now, this is y'all second chance, UFC judges. This is y'all second chance to do the right thing. I don't want no bias in this fight. Yes, Mackenzie Dern would attract more attention to the division. People look at the difference between Mackenzie Dern and Verna Jandiroba. It is like night and day. When you are talking about which fighter would make a better champion for the division, you have to imagine that even Dana White is sitting there with his fingers crossed in hopes that Mackenzie wins the fight. Please don't let anything like that happen. Please. Now, what's going to happen with Natalia Silva is my question. What are they going to do with her? Is she going to have another fight? I don't think she should. Now, maybe she wants it. If she wants a fight, go ahead and give her a fight. She may not want to be idle. You know what I'm saying? She may not want to sit around and wait for Weili and Valentina to fight. Or maybe she will. But look at this. Does it really matter? Should it really matter to Natalia Silva at this point? No. No matter how you slice it, Natalia Silva is sitting pretty right now. She's in a very good position. It doesn't matter who wins this fight. You know what I'm saying? Natalia is either going to fight Weili Zhang or Valentina Shevchenko. I'm telling you, the flyweight division is lit now. Valentina's prediction that it would be the hottest division, that came true a while ago. And it's still getting hotter. How crazy is that? So no more Weili at 115. And let me tell you something else. I don't think Suarez is going to get that strap. Nope. I'd take Verna over Suarez. In a heartbeat. Yes, I would. Let me tell you something else. I'd probably take Jan over Suarez. Oh, yes. And notice, Suarez has not fought many fighters at 115. Okay? She hasn't fought Amanda Lemos yet. She hasn't fought Mackenzie Dern yet. She hasn't fought really anybody in the division. So, good on Suarez. She made a smart decision to start working on her striking and starting to work with Valentina Shevchenko on her striking. You need the best possible training right now. The reorganizing of the division is something that has my attention, because who knows who's going to end up being the champion. We're at a point now in the strawweight division where there's a real good chance that the title is jumping around from fighter to fighter. Because whoever wins the strap between Verna and Mackenzie Dern, come on, people. Do you believe they're going to keep it? Do you believe they're going to keep it? Dern has already lost to Yan Xiaonan. Come on, man. I don't care if it's Verna or Mackenzie Dern. They're not keeping that belt. That strap is about to jump around and play musical chairs once again. Didn't we just see that happening? Or predict that would happen? I really can't remember. But it's almost like the strawweight division has reset. You got Lupi, who is now at number 6. You got Lucindo, who is at number 7. I was just talking about the possibility of Lucindo getting a title shot. Now, whoever wins at 115, who's going to fight that person? Who? I think Lucindo is still in good standing as a possible contender, because look at how many fighters they jumped over. They said no to Suarez to fight for the strap, no to Jan, no to Lemos. They gave it to the fighter who was on the longest win streak. Right? Where's her win streak right now? And that's just a 2-fight win streak? And so she doesn't have the longest win streak. Right? Does she or does she? I'm thinking Lucindo's win streak, or maybe Lupita's win streak is longer than that. Let's look at Lupita's. I hate Sherdog. They have all these ads. No other website makes my computer move slow. Sherdog, are you listening? I hate your website. I'm leaving it right now, and I'm not coming back. How about that? I'm going to Wikipedia. Yeah, fix your website. You goofy website. Wikipedia shows, oh, she's on the 2-fight win. So the girls at 115 really ain't doing too well. There's no standout fighter, really. It's really no standout fighter there. No standout fighter. As far as win streaks, like, what in the world is going on? Here, let me look up something. Let's look at all of these fighters here. Let's look at all of the fighters and all of their records. Let's start with the strawweight division. Okay? On your screen now is the strawweight division. You got all the fighters along with their records. Okay? Let's filter it. Let's focus on their MMA record. This one here on the far right. And let's do a quick filter. Okay, so no undefeated fighters. That's one thing about the division now. Remember, I've always talked about how divisions are far more interesting when you have undefeated fighters. Remember, that's what made flyweight the hottest division. Bar none, hands down. You had a bunch of fighters who had not lost in the UFC yet. And flat out, that's what made flyweight hotter than strawweight. But right now, there are no undefeated fighters at strawweight. Man, 15-4-1. Amanda Lemos is still dangerous now. We're going to get into the Weili Shevchenko breakdown here, because I got to get into their styles, their style matchup. Because, man, anything can happen in this fight, if you ask me. Valentina is going to try to take Weili down. And if you ask me, she's going to try to do that in the very first round. Who in the world thinks otherwise? Who thinks this is one fighter in that division that we all need to keep an eye on? Jacqueline Amorim is dangerous. If I'm not mistaken, she's been booked already. She has a fight coming up. If she makes improvements on her striking, that girl, I mean, she's already dangerous now. Not really known as a striker. How old is she? Let me see. Y'all gonna have to look out for her too. You see, Weili is aggressive. What gave Grasso an advantage was her aggression. Y'all know I've talked about this. Look at the second fight between Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. Notice that Grasso's best moments came when she became aggressive. Okay, Jacqueline Amorim is 30 years old, right? She started teeing off on Shevchenko at one moment in the second fight, and it was overwhelming for Shevchenko. It was so overwhelming, Shevchenko did not throw one strike back. The queen of counter strikes was overwhelmed by a flurry from Grasso, so much so that she took like 10 or 12 unanswered shots. Something snapped in Grasso's head. She tweaked out and just started teeing off on Shevchenko. Shot after shot after shot after shot. I think even Shevchenko was surprised. Like, damn, chick, calm down. But if you ask me, it shows that Shevchenko does not like to fight at that kind of pace. Shevchenko likes a steady pace. And I think Weili is the perfect fighter to disrupt that. I don't think Natalia Silva's style would make Shevchenko that uncomfortable. She might still lose to Natalia Silva, but I don't think Silva's style would make Shevchenko uncomfortable. Weili's might, because Weili tweaks out like that. She tweaks out. Okay, Stephanie Luciano. Yeah, she's 25. Here, let's do this. Yeah, we got some young people. Luciano in that. Now, this is the future of the division here. Shout out to Weili. She's making room for these other fighters. Another thing, I think Weili's having trouble making the weight at her age right now. Luciano, the youngest fighter in division, 23. Fatima Klein, 25. So is Denise Gomez. Many people have been talking about Denise being the future. Stephanie, Yasmin, Palastri. Okay, a lot of young people there. You got Wayne Kong, who is not that young. Okay, and man, look at that. 125 is lit. It's lit. Wayne Kong is already ranked. Keep that in mind. You got a underrated fighter in Dion Barbosa. Still got Eduardo Mora there. Carly Judas. Ain't this crispy? Yeah, crispy is a problem. Y'all look at her skinny body or skinny arms, you know. You look at her face, and she looks like the girl next door. A lot of people look past her, man. She will piece you up. She'll leave you with a crispy face. Dion Barbosa, Jamie Lynn Horth, nah. Brogan, nah. Gabriela Fernandez. That's who I'm talking about. Scratch what I just said about Dion Barbosa. The underrated and underappreciated fighter is Gabriela Fernandez. A very hard-hitting fighter. Very hard-hitting with skills. Am I talking about the right one? Correct me if I'm wrong, please, because I might be getting these two confused. But I don't believe I am. Gabriela Fernandez is an underrated striker. She defeated Wayne Kong in a striking contest. Let's never forget that. And I'm doing this because, man, we're losing Weili we've lost Weili at 115. Weili and Shevchenko are two of the most gangster fighters I've ever seen in those divisions. They're both kind of off. You know, something's wrong with both of them. They're crazy. I mean that in a good way. They're crazy. I've already talked about Shevchenko going into the UFC and making the decision to go to 135 instead of 115. Remember, she came into the UFC when there was no flyweight division. Most fighters, when that happens, they'll say, oh, I'm going to go down to the lower weight because I'm a bigger fighter and I'll have an advantage. No, Shevchenko went to 135. 135, where she knew she was going to be outsized significantly. And still went in there fighting as if everything was on an even playing field. Shit, I've talked about that several times. Shevchenko is a lunatic. A straight up gangster lunatic. And with Weili, look at what she's doing now. She wanted to fight Valentina long ago. Weili has been wanting to fight everybody. She ducks. No smoke. No smoke. And now she's at 125. She could possibly have a rematch with Rose. Could you imagine Weili against Manon Fior? Man, 125 is about to get crazy. With the inclusion of Weili, 125 is about to be lit beyond imagination. Weili against Natalia Silva? Really? I'll pay for that. Alexa Grasso, Erin Blanchfield? Yeah, sign me up. Weili against Wayne Kong? Sign me up. Now, hopefully Wayne Kong can keep it together. I don't think she's going to be honest. And some of you may have recently saw her training on her ground game. Who is she training with? She's training with somebody that's respected on the ground. We'll see. But I really don't expect her to make improvements. And even if she does, you know, I just wish the best for Wayne Kong, because she's a very good striker offensively. On her feet, she is one of the best strikers. So hopefully she can remain successful, remain undefeated as she moves up. But yeah, man, 125 is where it's at right now. It's where it's at. And it's going to be sad because one of these fighters has to lose. Can you imagine Shevchenko being a contender? Huh? Weili being a contender? And can you imagine the possibility of a rematch? Man, Natalia Silva may never get a title shot. She has to be looking at this and thinking to herself like, uh-oh. We've seen this happen before. Grasso had to fight Shevchenko 3 times. That's a problem, man. We gotta stop doing this. I'm sorry, we gotta stop doing this. You lose your fight, you sit out for a while. For example, if Weili wins, just let Valentina sit out for a while. You want a rematch? Okay. Weili is gonna fight somebody in the meantime. We're gonna give the number 1 contender a shot. You know what I'm saying? Don't continue to stiff these fighters like that. Now, Verna is not being stiffed like that. She's about to get a title shot. And I don't think she cares that it's against Mackenzie Dern. She doesn't have to sit out and wait for some other 2 fighters to fight. So nothing's happened to her. This is not an inconvenience for her. It is an inconvenience for Natalia Silva. I think she was hands down the next in line for a title shot. Now, I suspect they're going to make... Man, I hope they don't. But they might make Natalia Silva fight somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what they're going to do. And I think Silva should be the backup fighter. She should be in attendance. I think where they're fighting in December, she should be in attendance. She should be in shape, and she's always in shape. And she should most definitely be the backup fighter. And no matter what happens, I'm sorry, man, give her the title shot next. Give her the title shot next. Let's not do these contenders like this. I appreciate the super fight. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate this super fight. And it's needed, isn't it? Isn't this the first champ fight for the women in the lower weights? The only other champ fight was Amanda Nunes against Chris Cyborg. We've never had a champ fight between the flyweight champion and the strawweight champion. Let's take a couple seconds to appreciate that. That's another breakthrough. A lot of breakthroughs going down in WMMA. Because like I said, it's a very new, division. It's very new sport, You even hear Dakota DeChiva bumping her gums about how she'll whoop the UFC fighters and all this kind of stuff. Be on the lookout for her coming into the UFC as well. I believe it's only a matter of time. And fights like this is going to further motivate her to want to be fighting in the UFC. This is where all the eyes are, Dakota. The best possible fight for Dakota right now is Liz Carmouche. Do you think she's really excited about that when fights like this is going down? Okay, so yeah, man. And if Dakota comes to UFC 125, that's going to be a legendary lit division. That'll probably be more lit than 135 was in its prime. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Verna fighting Mackenzie Dern for the strap. But hey, I'm down. Let's do it. WMMA needed something like this. They needed something like this. They're always getting criticized. It's been several cards where there are no female fights at all on the cards. And it's just been lackluster for them. I don't know if it's been because of the absence of champ fights or whatever. But it's starting to heat up now. Valentina Shevchenko has a patient style for the most part. She's patient. Not saying Weili is in a rush, but Weili likes to get in there and get busy. She likes to get in there and she don't like too much time passing where she's not doing nothing. I suspect that Weili's style is going to make Valentina uncomfortable. Not saying that it's going to, be a disadvantage for Shevchenko, but it's going to be a challenge. She's going to either have to adjust or it's going to impact her in a negative way. I think that's something she's going to have to adjust to. And Weili is unpredictable. She's unpredictable, man. And when she wants to do something, she goes all in with it. As anxious as Valentina is to take her opponents down, do you think that's going to be a good idea in this fight? I would not sleep on Weili's takedown defense either. I wouldn't sleep on that. But I'm wondering if Weili wants to go to the ground with Valentina. Because she might. She very well might. Another thing we got to look at. Valentina, I've been saying this for years, is not a big flyweight. Even at flyweight, she is kind of small. That's why I said she was crazy for going to bantamweight. This girl is gangster beyond her mind. She is not that big. So, we have to question whether or not she's going to have a size advantage. Strength advantage. She lost to Alexa Grasso, who also came from 115. Who do you think is stronger, Weili or Alexa Grasso? I believe Weili is going to look good at 125. She's so muscular at 115. When she weighs in, I'm going to keep a good eye on the weigh-in. I bet you anything, she is lean. She's going to look lean. She is not going to be no Pudge Rose. Rose basically just grew a gut. She just gained fat. Fat. Hips, gut, and butt. Fat. Weili is just going to look more muscular, in my opinion. So she's strong. I expect Weili's strength to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. You're not going to really be able to muscle Weili around like I don't think Valentina. And another thing, I think Valentina is annoyed by fighters who move like Weili. Weili's body is all tight, man. Like she's strong. She's like one of those small people with a real tight grip. You know, you go shake their hand, they crush your bones in your hand. She seemed like she grabbed anything she grabs. She got a real tight grip, and she muscular and strong at everything she do. And her body is unorthodox. It does unorthodox things. She seems in sometimes double jointed in some ways. Her body moves like one single muscle, man. And she can do a lot of crazy things. I think that's going to be a problem with Shevchenko. Shevchenko's not going to appreciate that. Y'all remember when Shevchenko took Joanna down, she couldn't keep her down, even though she wanted to. Valentina wanted to keep her down and punish her on the mat, but she really couldn't. So if she had issues keeping her down, what do you think's going to happen in this fight? Now, granted, Shevchenko may have improved her ground game. Okay, it seems like she did. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not taking no fighter right now. I have not looked at no film, and I'm not about to play myself like that. I still need to look at film while being mindful that they're about to fight each other. Normally, I would go ahead and make my pick. But I'm leaning towards Valentina. But you always got to remember, for those who are doing that, I know there's a lot of people doing that, they're saying, hey, this is the bigger fighter. Valentina is bigger. She's bigger, she's bigger, she's bigger. I'm saying, people, she may not be bigger. You know what they should do, man? They should give us the fight night weights of these fighters. That should be standard, because I'd love to know what weight they're going to come into the cage at. I've also always talked about how Shevchenko never comes into the cage weighing that much more than she did at the weigh-in. She's not one of those fighters who blows up on fight night. I can almost guarantee you, on fight night, they're going to be about the same size. When I say same size, I'm saying the same weight. And I just think Weili is going to be a serious problem for Valentina Shevchenko. She's going to be a problem. Now let's talk about striking. Striking is a department I think Valentina is going to have the most success. And she needs to focus, in my opinion, on staying away, maintaining distance from Weili, and primarily relying on her jab. You better try to jab Weili's face in. Everything should be off of a jab. Make the jab your primary weapon, because Weili's head movement is still pretty much the same as it was when she got head kicked by Rose. Okay? Most fighters don't improve on their head movement. I think she has just improved in other areas where she didn't have to rely on head movement. She's going to have to rely on some head movement. She's going to need some head movement. So, also, you know Shevchenko's going to be watching that head kick KO. And she's going to be throwing head kicks at Weili. Okay? On the feet. Shevchenko, she better keep this fight. Now, let me not even say that, because she may not have an advantage anywhere, Valentina Shevchenko. This is not a champ-champ fight. I'm still seeing people saying that this is a champ. This is not. Weili vacated the belt. On the ground, can we say with confidence that Valentina is going to have an advantage? No. We haven't even seen Weili at 125. We don't know what to expect. That's the crazy part about it. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. This new computer that I got is a touch screen. I didn't even know it. That is a huge problem. The fact that we have nothing to go off of. We've never seen Weili at 125. You see, look at Rose. Look at how different she fought. I know she was with Trevor Whitman back then, but look at how different her style is from 115 to 125. Look at Alexa Grasso. How much better of a fighter she is at 125. Look at the fighters who became better fighters, like Alexa Grasso, after they came from 115 to 125. Will Weili be one of those fighters? Now, you already know she's most likely got a surprise for all of us, because she's been in her gym actually training and fighting at 125. So she knows how she performs at 125, but we don't. It's the same dynamic with Saul Alvarez and Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford's jumping up 2 weight classes. So we just don't know what to expect. So a lot of intrigue around this fight that I appreciate. I appreciate that most definitely. That really is what we needed. We needed that, because we already appreciated Weili. She is one of the most valuable female fighters ever. And for her to also be in a situation where she's moving up and we don't know what version of her to expect, yeah, take my money. I gotta see this. Flat out, I gotta see this. And that's going to be a big part of the fight experience. Watching Weili perform at this weight, while at the same time watching how she performs against Shevchenko. So it's like, for Weili, it's like a debut of more than one thing. We're about to see how she performs at this division for the very first time. And we're about to see her against Valentina. A fight that we've been waiting for. It's been talked about. That Weili has been after for a long time. And off in the cut, you got Dakota talking smack. And now, fights like this is going to really make Dakota want to come to the UFC. Don't be surprised if Dakota is in attendance. I expect her to be in attendance. It is going down. Wait a minute, what is this? Okay. You know? Let me see if I can find this here. Yeah. Now, we all knew when they made this post, we all knew what was about to happen. Then vacated her belt. So she's one of those fighters who's constantly looking for challenges. Fighters like that are valuable. For example, do you think Valentina has any plans to fight Kayla Harrison? Nobody's even been talking about that. Have y'all noticed that? Like, hey, Shevchenko, why don't you go back to 135, a division you fought at. Right? She fought for the belt at 135. Nobody's thinking about that fight, and I don't even think Valentina is thinking about that fight. Kayla got a fight coming up. If Kayla wins that fight and Shevchenko's still a champion, you think she's going to challenge Kayla Harrison? I'm just saying, look at the gangster involved here. Now, this is a failed point if Weili is moving up based on the weight, which is what I expect. I suspect. Hopefully one of these journalists are on their job and asks her about this. Was it that you couldn't make the weight, or that it was too difficult to make the weight? Because that's not what Weili said. You know, on the post that she made, here, let's go to it. She said she only mentioned challenging herself. See? Said, UFC 322, let's go. Keep moving forward. Stay positive and upward. Break through everything and surpass yourself. Okay? Now, this is what we expect. We don't expect the fighter to say, hey, yeah, I couldn't make the weight no more, when you're making a promo post on social media. But hopefully one of the journalists asked her, was it getting difficult to make the weight? But thankfully, her athleticism, I do not believe, will be impacted. So moving up won't be a hindrance. You know, it won't take away from her performance. Seriously doubt that. And we'll get the best version of both fighters. Good on both of them. Somebody mentioned the ages. They're around the same age, right? Shevchenko, 36 and 37. Wow. I was thinking Shevchenko was younger than that. So 36 and 37. So both of them are on the way out. Somebody's going, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, 36 and 37. It's kind of crazy. In a division where you got fighters as young as 23 years old. So the Young Bucks coming up. I also heard something about, and they should do this, they should make another division. Make that atomweight division, man, and stop playing. But anyway, on the feet, Weili has very short arms. If I'm not mistaken, her reach is significant. They have it on 63 inches for Weili. 63 for Weili. And right now, I'm looking for, where is she? Okay. 66 and a half for Valentina Shevchenko. Again, Weili is crazy. 63-inch reach for Weili, 66.5 for Shevchenko. Can y'all imagine the difference in leg reach? The leg reach advantage for Valentina also should be off the map. Should be off the map. Valentina 5'5". 5'5" for Valentina. 5'4", so it's not a big difference, but she's still taller. She's still taller than Weili, okay? She's taller with a better reach. That jab is going to be a problem all night if Valentina uses it. Valentina has a fast, stiff jab. She throws it very well. Very good execution on her jab. If she goes to that and makes it her bread and butter, that's going to be a problem all night for Weili. That's the jab alone. She's going to have to use something else against Valentina. She's going to have to throw some kicks or something. I want to know what her plan is for Valentina on the feet. Because on the ground, you know, it is whatever you're in a position to do. I'm not really worried about what's going to happen on the ground. I want to know, what's your plan against Shevchenko on the feet? Because you're not going to box her. That's a bad idea. To just go in there and try to box her. Let me see here. Grasso had some success boxing with Valentina Shevchenko. But if I'm not mistaken, Grasso has unusually long arms. I'm about to check right now. Remember, 66.5-inch reach for Valentina Shevchenko. Alexa Grasso, 66-inch reach for Grasso. So we cannot look forward to Weili having the same success throwing hands against Valentina. We can't depend on that because Weili is going to have to get inside. You know, realistically, she's going to have to get inside in order to land shots. So boxing is a bad idea. She's got a significantly longer reach. She's fast. I don't know who's faster. They both got good speed, but she got more reach. She's faster. She's a little taller. It feels like standing with Shevchenko is a bad idea for Weili. So can you imagine Weili going into this fight planning on taking Shevchenko down and mauling her? What are you going to do? So, wow. Weili is gangster. Weili is crazy. She's crazy. I'm not the only one saying this. There's a lot of other people like, wow, Weili she's crazy. Man, I would have fought to be able to keep making that weight at 115 until I retired. Been making 115 all these years. Yeah, it's a rough cut, but I'm going to keep doing it. Or I'm going to go ahead and retire. She said no to retirement. She said, hey, why not? Let me just move up and fight Shevchenko. Man, protect Weili at all costs. Valentina too, shout out to her, but Shevchenko ain't trying to do nothing crazy like that. The equivalent would be for Shevchenko to move up and fight Kayla Harrison. Then, you think she's going to do that? Even if she wins this fight, let's say Shevchenko beats Weili, let's say she also beats Natalia Silva. Let's say she sort of exhausts her options, and let's just say it's a good time for Valentina to move up and fight Kayla Harrison. Do you think she's going to do it? I seriously doubt that. As poor as Kayla's striking is, and it is poor, she is not going to go up there to fight no Kayla Harrison. You can forget about it. So Weili is gangster, more gangster than probably she should be. Shout out to her. I'm looking forward to this fight. I'm not going to give my prediction right now. Not going to give my prediction right now. But I will make a prediction. I have to make a prediction for this fight. Shout out to all the regulars. And some of my ops. See y'all in the next live.